just one title.
Where do you teach?
In Durham.
Okay. Yeah, you need to talk to all the teachers afterwards a little bit to make sure you're getting our free resources for 3H.
Okay, and that's something I definitely need to talk to you
Yeah.
about, because there's, just know that my order is not going to be in by the end of this month.
Okay, I'm going to help you.
Would you like the wireless, this one?
Yeah.
We have this option or that one.
Yeah, I'll do
Let me
that.
introduce you. Come up here.
Okay.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Let's see. Oh, let's turn this on. Check, test. There we go. Well, good afternoon. Thank you all. It's a tough time of the day, isn't it? You have lunch, you go back to your house or place, your hotel room, whatever it is, and then you're just ready for a couple of hours of nap, aren't you? You have come here to be educated and entertained by an extremely, we're blessed to have her here. How many of you know Sandra from the past? Do you recognize any faces? Just Catherine up front here? Well, you picked the right seminar today. Sandra Doran has been in education for how many years, Sandra? 40-ish? I've been in education 43 years, but I know Sandra has been at least that many, because as I was coming through college, she was already out doing her thing. Sandra has been in the classroom as a teacher for several years. She's known for her innovation in teaching. She has traveled to many conferences and locations to give seminars similar to this, and to give opportunities for teachers to learn from her hints to give positive, good instruction. But maybe most recently, maybe you've seen advertised on Facebook or Ed.D website. Sandra, most recently in the educational field, has been involved very heavily in developing curriculum for all across all the grades, called 3 Angels, and it's a literary program for using English language and reading and writing along with Scripture. Isn't that something we've been looking for decades? I'm the superintendent of schools, Rick Anderson, in the Carolina Conference. I want you to know I wanted that available for all of my teachers. As we looked at that curriculum, we said this needs to be in everybody's classroom. And so we offered to all of our teachers and schools to cover the cost to get that kicked off in their classrooms. This was, 5 years ago or so now. But Sandra developed that curriculum along with help from her dad, who edited materials, gave his input from Scripture, Mark Finley. Her dad is, of course, an evangelist, has been for years, one of the most renowned evangelists in our church. And so we get the blessing of Sandra's experience, expertise, and curriculum writing, and her creating those materials along with her dad's wisdom from the spiritual side of things as well, in terms of editing, helping with, helping with the scriptures you wanted to put in there, interpretation of those scriptures, and what would be age appropriate for our kids. So in short, just know that the person that's leading out in this week with this seminar, you're going to want to come back again, because everything you hear from her is going to just be good information for you to know how to educate your kids in a positive way, whether it's in your church or in your schools, for the kingdom, giving them understanding of the 3 Angels message, what's their purpose and role in this last day church. So Sandra, we are so grateful you're here this week. Thank you for coming. We tried this a few years ago, and COVID hit. And somebody here, probably Haskell Williams, gave Sandra COVID. And so we had to send her home. And so we were shortchanged, and she said she'd come back and continue. Try it. It's a do-over. So Sandra, thank you so much for coming. Appreciate your time. I'd like to just have a word of prayer as we kick off this week's materials. Father in heaven, what a blessing to be here today with parents, grandparents, educators, all of us interested in what our kids are learning and growing in. Our desire, Father, is to see our kids in your kingdom. And we can do that through the way we teach in Sabbath school. We can do it by what we're educating them with in the classroom and in our homes. And Father, whatever our role is here as adults today, we know we have a place in educating our kids. So help us in that process this week. Keep our eyes and minds open and receptive to what you have to share with us this week. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me ask you a question. How many of you are teaching in church schools right now, or church school teachers? 1, 2, 3-ish. Okay, okay. Good. Yeah, I'd like to talk to all of you afterwards because I want to make sure that all of the schools realize you have until June 15 to get $500 worth of resources from Three Angels for Kids. So I want to help you with that. But we're going to start right out by jumping in. So what I'd like you to do is take your papers and number 1 through 12. 1 through 12. And I'm going to ask you, you're going to have to write Y or N, yes or no. Everybody capable of that? Yes or no, Y or N. You ready? The question is, I'm going to ask you whether you think these materials that I'm holding up are magnetic or not. Okay, so while you're numbering, let me get this organized.
Slow down just a little bit and we're getting paper out.
All right, good, because I got to do this. All right. All right, can you hear? Is this picking up? Good? This is working. Okay. All right, and if you want to, look at anything or whatever, you can come up to the table, you can touch it, hold it, whatever you want to do. I can even pass some of these things around if you want. All right, so the question is this magnetic or not? Now, what is this here? Okay, so write Y or N. You don't have to tell anyone else your answer. Yeah, you can show it around to people. Y or N, do you think the ice cream scoop is magnetic? And when we get through all 12 of them, then we will talk about it, okay? The next one is the cover to a salt shaker. Is this magnetic, Y or N? All right? The salt shaker cover is number 2. All right. I got to make sure I have a rare earth magnet here, so we will have the ultimate test. But I got to keep it away from the items for now. Okay, number 3 is a canning jar cover. Yes or no, magnetic canning jar cover. Anybody need to see the canning jar cover? All right. All right, number 4 is this pin from the World's Fair, probably around 1976. It says, "The Adventist told me I'm an important natural resource." And I have saved this since 1976. Is this pin magnetic? I didn't realize how old I was till I realized I've had this pin since 1976. Number 5, here if anybody wants to see that, number 5 is a fish. That was part of a keychain. I can show that fish around to people because that's kind of unique. Each object you're going to say, is it magnetic or not? So there's 12 items. 12 items. Number 1 is the ice cream scoop. 2 is the salt shaker top. 3 is the canning jar cover. 4 is the pin from the World's Fair. 5 is the fish. All right? Okay. Now, number 6, you will not see this anywhere else. This was when one of our sons was at Forest Lake Academy and took a little class in welding and art or something. And ever since, he's now 36 years old, and ever since I've been hanging on to this thing. It's some little welded thing. I think you're going to have to look at it to figure it out. All right, so do you think this thing is magnetic? It's cool. Sorry. It's just yes or no, is it magnetic? When I put a magnet, will it be attracted to this?
Oh, for those three things, those
For
three
there,
numbers?
no, there's 12 numbers. Kind of interesting.
Now that feels heavier. What's that called?
That's number 6, I believe. Here, Eric,
Is this magnetic?
I haven't been.
that's the question. Yeah.
Is it magnetic
We
or
have
not?
12 things that, Eric, will you just finish with these 3 with that? Yeah, I figured you needed to see that one because it's kind of unique. All right. Moving right along. Number 7 is a paper clip. It's this yellow paper clip. You ever see these colored paper clips? I think you've seen these before, okay? So that doesn't really need to be passed around. That was number 7. Number 8 is a safety pin. Okay, number 8, safety pin. Number 9 is the chain that went with that fish keychain. Okay. All right. 3 more things, and they're all coins, so you can show them these coins. Number 10 is a Boliviano. Okay, this is a Bolivian coin. I got this in Bolivia. Number 10 is a coin from Bolivia. Number 11 is a coin from Israel. And number 12 is a quarter. So if you want to show them those, you can tell by the menorah that's the Israel one. All right, and then we're going to take a look and see. Sure. Okay, number 1 is an ice cream scoop. This, my aunt eloped and got married when she was, I think, at least 60. And she let us all go into her house and pick whatever we wanted, and I got this ice cream scoop. If she was alive today, she'd probably be 110 years old, I think. So it's quite old ice cream scoop. But number 1 was the ice cream scoop. Number 2 was the salt shaker top. Number 3, canning jar cover. Number 4, a pin from the World's Fair that says the Adventist told me I'm an important natural resource. And number 5, the fish that was part of the keychain. Okay? All right, we're about to do the ultimate test with the rare earth magnet. I got to keep it away from everything else or it will... if it's...
Is it metal or plastic?
Is which thing?
That top to the salt shaker.
I'm going to let you look at it and decide that.
Probably all of these know except
Have you seen this? Okay. All right. All right. Are we ready to start? Okay. The rare earth magnet. How many think this ice cream scoop is magnetic? All right. It is not. It's not attracting it. Why? What is this made out of? Okay, this was aluminum back in the day. They made things out of that. All right, number 2, the salt shaker top. You think it's magnetic? Plastic. Number 3, the canning jar cover. Yes or no? Yep. Number 4, the pin from the World's Fair. Yes or no? Whole thing. All right, number 5, the fish. Some said yes, some said no. All right, number 7, the strange welded item. wait a minute, that was number 6. Okay, number 7, this yellow paper clip. It's just covered in plastic. Number 8, a safety pin. Number 9, the keychain. Number 10, the Boliviano. That is really. Number 11, the coin from Israel. And number 12, the quarter. Only the Boliviano. Now, why were we doing this? You have just experienced your first Connect. So I have been asked to talk about format. And when you do format, you start with a Connect to get people involved to the larger concept before you introduce the content. Okay, so you're about to find out what the concept is that will tie into the content. All right, so the magnetic objects, did your expectation always match reality? Okay. How might knowing the properties of one of these objects help us understand and value it more? What if I think that this fish, and this you're going to talk to a person beside you. If no one's beside you, you can turn around. What if I think this fish is supposed to be magnetic? And I don't understand that this fish is not magnetic. How is that going to influence, if I don't know the properties of this, how is that going to influence the way I'm reacting to this fish? Talk to somebody about that next to you. Thank you. You're going over to. Good. Thank you.
Come up with something intelligent. How are you? So we're supposed to talk about.
Talk to kids about it.
So maybe she's trying to say that's how people are saying.
Okay.
The thing is, if you're depending upon it to me, because they still do some function, it's not made out of the wrong kind of metal, you can get in trouble.
All right. Thoughts on this? How might knowing the properties of one of these objects help us understand and value it more? Or any related thoughts to that topic? So if I expect this to be magnetic, and I assume that everything on this table needs to be magnetic to be functional, what is that going to lead to? How is that going to impact me? How am I going to value this thing?
You'll be disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to look useless. I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to keep trying to make it magnetic.
It doesn't look as nice taped to the refrigerator.
Right. I'm going to tape the thing to the refrigerator no matter what it takes. Exactly. So what do we sometimes expect of people? You know, you always hear that you're supposed to have high expectations. We always get it right. What role does expectations play in the way we treat people? Does that mean I'm lowering my expectations if I say this thing isn't magnetic? Talk about that to somebody. If I say that this thing is not magnetic, if I keep trying to get it to stick to the refrigerator, and I finally tape it to the refrigerator, and one day I say, you know something, this thing is not magnetic. Have I lowered my expectations for this thing? So I want you to kind of look at this. What role does expectations play in the way we treat people? Just talk to others about expectations, people. Okay. All right. What are some of your thoughts on this? I think you had some. I heard you saying some good things.
So some of my kids have grown through the years. My oldest is 26, but even just this last week, we had a really good conversation together. And when she was young, as my first baby, I had a lot of high expectations and encouraging her and pushing her and all with good intentions, but pushing her in places that weren't really a match for the shape that God made her to be into.
There you go.
And see what actually, giving her that freedom to express the things God's really called in her life.
Yeah.
And I wish I had figured that out sooner.
Yeah. I mean, all of us God has given us different gifts. And I don't think Jesus ever tried to make a Peter into a John. So that's what this format is all about, is understanding our learning styles, understanding the learning styles of those we work with, so that we don't have this one expectation that everybody has to learn the same way. And research shows that there's certain learning styles of children that always get on the honor roll. And there are other learning styles that rarely get on the honor roll. But that doesn't mean they're not gifted. So that's what this is about. So you may be wondering, what is this format? How did it get into the Southern Union originally? Who started it? What it's all about? So when I was interviewing for my job in the Southern Union at Florida Conference in 2002, the first thing my then to-be boss, Gene Brewer, asked me is, what do you know about format? I didn't know if it was, I didn't know it was the number 4 in the word mat. I knew nothing about it. I made the fatal mistake of saying, I don't know anything, but I'd be happy to learn. And then the rest of the interview for the next 2 days was him telling me about format and sending me to format workshops. But I don't know, do any of you know him? Did any of you know Gene Brewer? Okay, he was the one that started format in this conference when he was superintendent. And there was a woman by the name of Bernice McCarthy who had done a lot of studying on learning styles and philosophies, and she found that everything fit under this kind of a structure that she put together. And then that's why we started teaching format in the Southern Union. So one of the things when you'll see this format wheel, but she started with processing, the idea of how do you process information. Some people process information by just plunging in and just doing it. Other people process information by sitting back and reflecting. They're not anxious to jump right in, but they want to give it some thought. So just quickly tell the person beside you, do you think that you are one that acts things out, or are you one that reflects and watches? Do you happen to have my copies? Because I actually have an assessment on this. I know that Courtney made some copies for me. Should be in that box. Okay. Okay. Oh, they're hiding it. All right. Oh, look at that. Yeah. So I actually have a little assessment for you Let's see which one it is. Okay, we're going to go. There should be two different things here. This is one of them. Oh, well,
I only heard there was one.
unless it's back to back, because I had two assessments.
These all the same?
Well, that's okay if we don't. I sent her the other one later, and she said she'd do it.
I only see one kind here.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's all
Pass
right.
this one out.
No, don't pass that one out yet. We'll get to it.
I won't
Okay. Okay. We do have an assessment on that, but let me see. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, let's just talk about that one a little bit anyway, which is fine. So, are you the type of person that when you're in a setting, you want to act and do something to really learn and understand it, or do you like to sit back and watch the others and think about it? How many of you, here, I'll have you stand to keep you a little active here. Stand if you're the active people, or you want to jump in and do it, and that's how you figure it out. You can, if you think you're...
After I've done it.
Okay.
Two kinds here.
Yes. Okay. Good. Okay. This is the other one. Okay. All right. So you are the active people. Okay. Go ahead and sit down. Now stand if you think you're a person that likes to watch and reflect on it. Now you don't even want to stand because you're the one. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you a quick assessment on this, and you can pass this one out now, and you'll know a little bit about your style. This will help you on that. And just go ahead and quickly fill that out if you don't mind. Don't overthink it, but it'll just, if you're a reflector, then you're going to want to overthink it. That's okay. That's okay. I'll take one so I know what I'm doing. Thank you. Yeah, just quickly go through that. And you can mark it if you have a pen or something. We're doing okay.
This is one that I got from first.
Oh, I have another pen here. I do have another pen. Oh, okay.
I can really see myself in both.
Oh, that's okay.
It depends on the circumstance.
Yeah, oh, sure. So you can put a question mark for some of them. Yeah, sure. And it does sometimes, if you're comfortable in a circumstance, or you could react differently at home that you do at another place, but just in general. All right, anybody need more time? Okay. Okay. This will help you a little bit decide if you're a reflector or a doer. I just kind of put this together. While some people are finishing up, what do you think happens in school if the teacher's main way of doing things is asking kids to raise their hand when the teacher asks a question? Who do you think is going to be quickly raising their hand? Right? If a child is more reflective, do they ever get to answer? And if the class depends on class participation, what happens to the reflectors? That's why we have something we call wait time as teachers. And also we have other ways of having people share. That's why I've asked you to share in groups. You notice I'm not having people raise their hands because then some of you don't get a chance to be part of the discussion and to share your thoughts. All right, let's take a look at it. I become energized when I'm around a lot of people or have some time by myself. That's the classic definition, by the way, of an introvert and extrovert, right? An extrovert is energized by being around people, and an introvert, when you need to get your energy back, you have to get alone. So really, this could be a marriage seminar, right? This could be a board seminar on how people on the board get along. You know, because if you have people who need their time to reflect, we should never assume that those people aren't as able or as intelligent or as quick thinkers. They need time, and that's okay. All right, I really enjoy going to a restaurant I know well or finding a new restaurant. It's an interesting question. You know, where is your comfort zone? Do you like to dive right into action, or do you want to kind of reflect and see what's happening here? Do you need some time? So think about if you have a situation in a classroom, in a Sabbath school class, again, in a school board, how important it is to create a situation so that whether a person is a reflector or a doer, they have an equal opportunity. People describe me as reserved or energetic, etc. I like things that are predictable, unpredictable. So this is just something for you to look at. I think you can figure out by looking at it whether you are a reflector or a doer. Let's do this. I will tell you the number, and you could put an R or a D and add up for yourself. Okay, so number 1, A is a doer, so that would be a D. If you put B, give yourself an R. Number 2, if you put A, give yourself an R. If you put B, give yourself a D. Number 3, A, give yourself a D. B, give yourself an R. Number 4A, give yourself an R. 4B, give yourself a D. Number 5A, D. 5B, R. 6A, R. 6B, D. 7A, R. 7B, D. 8A, D. 8B, R. 9A, D. 9B, R. 10A, R. 10B, D. All right, add them up, and how do you turn out? Kind of equal, or is one a lot stronger than another one? You're,
Very equal.
oh, there you go. There you go. Okay, okay. So, do some of you, are you weighted very strongly on one side or the other? Anybody that has like 10 of the same, 10 of one of the letters? Some are more equal. Okay. Anybody have a lot of D's? Okay. A lot of R's? Okay. All right, so it's something to think about. So when Berenice McCarthy was putting together what we call the format wheel, on one hemisphere, and you're going to see that there are 4 what we call quadrants on here. The top right yellow will be number 1, 2, 3, 4. But numbers 3 and 4 are people that prefer acting and doing, and 1 and 2 are reflecting and watching. Now, not only do you have the wheel divided this way, and we talked about how you process, but also, and this one, it's a little abstract to me. I had to think about it, but also the way you perceive things. Some people perceive things by really experiencing them, whereas other people perceive things by thinking them through. So once she put all of that together, she came up with what we call these 4 quadrants, and that's what we're going to be talking about this week, so we understand ourselves and the people we work with. All right, so we have number 1, the first quadrant up here, is that kind of a person would be asking why all the time. If you have students that ask why, or children that ask why, or you ask the question why, that's important to you. A quadrant 1 is a very intuitive person. In a group, they're very sensitive to the needs of others, and the main question they ask is why. It has to have personal meaning to them, or there's no point to doing it. If there's not, so if you were teaching a class and you didn't make this didn't matter to the person on a personal level, they're not even going to tune in. Quadrant 2 is what? Your quadrant 2 people want to know, what do I need to know? Give me the details. Like if you were a quadrant 2, when I did this connect, which I did so that you understand there's different kinds of people and different expectations. A 2 would be frustrated. What do we do? What do you care about magnets? What's the detail? I want to know what format is. Just tell me. 3, their main question is how. How do you do this? Very practical. And a quadrant 4 is, what if we did it a little different way? So that's what we'll be talking about this week. That's our very basic wheel. Quadrant 1 is very intuitive. A quadrant 2 is very detail-oriented. Quadrant 3 is very, very practical, and a quadrant 4 is a visionary. So if you have a team, and let's say there's not a quadrant 2 on it, what might happen on that team? Yeah, right? Right. Yeah.
I'd be very frustrated because I'm a 2. So, just a quick question. If I'm on a committee working and I'm a number 2, very strong,
Yes.
am I going to treat everyone else as a 2, or will I have the tendency to do the opposite?
What do you mean treat everyone else as a 2?
Am I going to expect the same kind of way I think?
Yeah, yeah.
React, or am I going to, because of my the way I think, going to automatically treat the others differently?
So it depends if you took this seminar or not yet. But yet, I mean, there are natural antagonists, and we're going to talk about that. But you get frustrated with people that have a different style from you. You know, but once you see the beauty of this, and then you start seeing, oh my goodness, if that person that's the very opposite of me was not on this team, this would be a very lopsided committee. I can get frustrated with 2s because I'm like, let's get going here. Let's get going here. You know, who cares about the details? I'll tell a few stories on myself. My husband always laughs at some of these through the years, but when we were at Andrews University, I think it was even the day the clock changed, and I was working as a reporter for Andrews University as a writer, and I had something that I had to get to that I had to write, and I was speeding out of the driveway, and my husband was behind me. Stop, stop. I'm like, why is he always worrying about these ridiculous details, you know, details that don't matter? And he stopped, and he's pounding on the car, and I said, I don't have time to turn around. And he said, but you're going the wrong way, you know. And I was still in such a mindset that when he said, you're going the wrong way, my response was, I don't have time to turn around, you know, because I was in quadrant 3 mode. I just wanted to get there. Or then there was the birthday party where this whole basket of favors fell off the top of the car and I was running it over. And here's this man who's always trying to get me to pay attention to detail, telling me, stop the car. Why? I got to get to the party. Well, you're running over the favors, you know. So we do need other people in our lives. And that's what this, gets to. But our natural tendency is to expect other people to be like us and to teach as if people are going to like our style and do things our way without having this awareness that people need different things and we have to vary it up. So that's the basic wheel. All right, we're going to talk a little more about the quadrants, but I want you to have a chance to I put this very basic thing together. I know this is going to be hard for some of you, especially you reflectors, but I just want you to check the 4 statements that describe you the most. So it's going to take some thought. You doing okay? Does anyone need more time? Everyone's ready? Okay, because we're going to score these. So if you chose number 1 as one of your top 4, write a 2. Or actually, yeah, if you want to write all the numbers in, you can, but you want to find the ones that you marked particularly. Okay? So on the second question, you're going to write a 4. The third question is a quadrant 3 preference question. The fourth question is a 1, quadrant 1. The fifth question is also a quadrant 1. The sixth question is a quadrant 4. Question 7, quadrant 2. So you can put a 2 there. Question 8 is quadrant 3. Question 9 is a 1. Question 10 is a 2. 11 is a 4. And 12 is a 3. So take a look, especially if you put a star by your top 2 choices. See if a couple of quadrants are coming out there for you. You may have 2 for one thing and 2 for another, but see if you're getting a little closer to what your quadrant is. Wow, if you got 4 different things, you could have 4 different ways of responding. And also, there are many more longer, thorough assessments. I just made this very simple, quick assessment for here, but you could be taking a 5-page assessment or something. This is just to give you a little idea as to your style. Did anyone come out as a 1 that had at least 2 1s? Any 1s here? No 1s in the entire group. We're in trouble. Okay, all right. 1s are the ones that are very kind and intuitive, and we only have 1 in the room. I got to go give her a hug.
One for one, but I don't.
Oh, she just has 1 1 on there? Well, anyway, I'm glad you like people.
Yeah, I have one.
You two have 1 1. Okay, all right. We have a big group hug here. Okay. All right. Any 2s in the room?
I got one of those.
2s. All right. So we have some detail people here. All right. 3s. Okay, we got some 3s. All right. Very practical people in here. And what about 4s? Do we have any visionaries in here? Okay, all right, okay. All right, I want you to think about this because we are going to have activities to do that have to do with your quadrant in the next few days. So I want you to start thinking, if you're coming out a little mixed, think about the questions, and as we go over more about these types, which ones you think you most identify with, okay? So right now, did anyone, how many people didn't get any the same? Got like a 1, 2, 3, and a 4. Okay, few people. All right. Let's see. It's probably because I put together this very quick kind of an assessment. All right. Well, we'll go with it. So here's what I want you to do now. I would like you, this is going to be a challenge, but I would like you as a group to line yourselves up horizontally in the front of the room here according to the month and day of your birthday. And this is January 1, and that side is December 31st. So everybody, stand up. And obviously you have to talk to one another to do it.
I'm way over here.
July.
Which way we're going? We're going from January.
January's right there.
January's on that side.
I'm all here August.
August.
18.
I'm 12.
All right. Oh, sir.
July 25th.
All right.
Okay, so I guess we're side by side.
Okay, but no, August. Well, this time. What are you? December. December. December.
June? Over here.
Go as far as you can there,
Back a little
Catherine.
bit.
I'm July. 25.
August 12th.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, we're trying to give them some more room.
June the 6th.
You can move this way.
All right, now that I have you all mixed up, now what I'm going to do is you're going to follow me and you're going to follow him, and just everybody follow suit. Okay, follow me. Keep following until you're across from somebody, until you're directly across from somebody. Okay, so
Facing this way, so you
you can
in
come
front of me.
Yep. All right, does everybody have a partner? Excuse me, I'm going to go through here. All right, is everybody across from somebody? See, you're with her, you're with him. Keep going. You're one over, I think, and I'm with you. All right, tell the person across from you one of the reasons you picked something on here, a story about yourself that shows your quadrant. So if you're mainly a 2, a 3, or a 4, what's something about yourself? If you think information is really important, tell them a story about yourself in school or why you selected some of the things you selected. Okay, you may have to go back to get your paper. Do you have to get your paper? Who's with him? You're my partner. Okay. Okay.
I don't like when people make quick rash decisions, and I think it's not going to work out.
I'm a number 2.
Make sure we know why we're making it.
I should.
Mark's your brother?
Yeah, he kept saying my father, but whatever.
You got other siblings?
I have 2 sisters.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Mark spoke to us down at Nasoka last year.
Oh, yeah.
I got him autographed the book. I love listening to
Yeah.
So I read the book. You know, him and George Vanderbilt, when I read what they've written, I can almost hear their cadence in their voice because he speaks a particular way.
That's right.
So I thought,
Okay.
I was looking for a mower.
Oh, 1 and 3. That goes together well. Okay, tell me why.
Very few are gas engines. So your selection's a lot less, and I like the gas engine.
But it's the information.
I ended up getting an electric.
What do you do?
I'm a chemist.
Oh, detail.
Okay. It's definitely a 1. It's definitely a 1.
Chemical engineering?
No, in medicinal
And the fact that I can keep it for 60 days if I don't like it.
What is your job? Okay, what are you taking? Now you're going to be all by yourself doing your electronics? Did you pick the right field?
that's why I was so happy.
Oh, true. Very practical, hands-on.
When I've taken these tests before, my wife's always frustrated that I'm only equal around there. I have a little bit of
Oh, wow. So where do you go to school?
too much of the road.
Okay, so where do you live?
So are you the same?
How far is it from here?
So she's there, but she's not.
Oh, so you're here for the whole week? And do you have one child? Or that little, and is he good at putting things together, like his Legos and all
It's
that?
funny, but that's also my husband. One with your wife.
Yeah, well, he's little. How old is he? Yeah, yeah. Well, how old is he? Yeah, so he's got... Where are you from originally? And when did you move here? Oh, wow. What led you here?
We drove down to Connecticut.
Is he retiring?
And what is she taking?
He had heard about the accident. And I got the trip, so I said, let's come I want to talk to you. And he said,
Wow, so she just graduated.
he says, yeah, the car's a piece of junk. Don't worry about it.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. What, from where?
If I have opportunity, hiring teachers, whatever.
That's exciting. Yeah. So does she have a position that she's going to take a position now, a job? As a chemist?
She stayed with her brother.
And the ones that are really visionary.
Wow. So what will she be doing with a PhD in chemistry? Whoa. And you know, I have a niece whose husband is a chemistry professor at Kettering, Lauren Barnhurst. If she ever wants to connect with another Adventist, you know, my brother is Mark Finley. His daughter, Rebecca, is married to Lauren Barnhurst, who's a chemistry, he has a PhD in chemistry. Yeah, yeah. Now, what would you guess your wife would test out as with the quadrants and format?
And a lot of boards are afraid of this kind of They want to do it slow, methodical.
She's a 2. And what about the 4? Is she a little bit outside of the box at times or no? Or she's more the 2, that probably a 2-3. Yeah, 2 and 3 sometimes go together. They like details and they like to get it done. Yeah, so she's the one that maybe slowing it down and you're like, let's get going. And she's like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the 2. Exactly, because you're a 3. Right. But see, once you understand this, now you see you need one another because you could be missing those little details. But if she's left to her own devices, you're never going to buy the couch because she's going to be like, wait, what about this? And you're like, enough already, let's just buy it. Yes. How did you meet? Okay.
He grew up in the slums in New York City. Can't even tell you who his parents were.
Okay.
But he wound up being always gave me a hug and a kiss every time she saw me. I'm from upstate.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm a quadrant 3-4 myself. A 3 and a 4. I want to get it done. I can do detail work, but it's not how I get a lot of joy out of life. And then a 4, I'm a visionary. I want to do it differently. I want to be the first one to do it like that, you know. Whereas now my husband, he's probably... It depends on what the situation is. He can be a 1 as a because he's a retired pastor, so he's loving his congregation, and I love the people too. But if I have something on my mind as a 3, I'm a lady on a mission. And somebody would be like, but you didn't even smile at me. You didn't even, because, people to places to go, people to see. Yeah, like.
All right, and this is your son.
Right. Or like if I'm at a potluck, I'm thinking, okay, there's 6 different people I have to talk to. This Sabbath school teacher, I got to make sure this, and so then I'm going to the next person. Yeah. I'm a very high achiever.
You can almost read that by looking further.
No, I'm a very high achiever. Whereas, but you take a look at the story of the Good Samaritan or something, they've done research on that if people are told you have an important appointment on the other side of the campus, they're going to be less apt to stop. But if the people think they have time and everything, they're going to stop. So, like, if you take a quadrant 1, they may not look like a high achiever, but they're going to be helping people because they're not at this hurried pace that they're stepping on whoever's in their way. So that's why we need one another, we need one another, yeah.
I spent 41 years pastoring.
Well, everybody seems to be. Wait, that's your wife? That's funny because your wife got matched up with my husband. Yeah, that's really funny. That's really funny that they would. How are we doing on time here? Everybody, I'll have to wrap it up in a little while. But that's really funny that would get matched up. Do you have a church school where you live?
And then came
An Adventist school for little kids?
21 years up there, 20 years here.
Oh, okay. Because I got to make sure that everybody, because 3 Angels for Kids, it's going to be, as of June 15th, it's up, but we have these certificate numbers. I've been trying to email all the schools because they can get $500 worth of materials. Our sponsors are putting in that money. So I want to be sure every church school, gets that. So,
So we went early.
We need some documentation
Oh.
for this wonderful.
So we live in Florida, in Land O'Lakes. Yeah, we live. So I go to the Newport Richie Church now. I don't think so. No.
Because they always automatically assume
Yeah.
she's the one in charge.
I don't know how recently, but yeah, I've been to churches. I've been to Pisgah, I've been to Fletcher, I've been to, yeah. Let me see if I can wrap this up. That's always the hardest part. Okay, let's see if we can wrap it up. You can go to your seats. All right. Wrap it up when you can and go back to his chairs. That's really funny because I got matched up with your husband and you got matched up with mine. Oh, well, there you go.
Yes.
Best place ever.
Yes, we spent the Sabbath on Thanksgiving of last year, and I'm not sure if it was you who was at the, I don't remember the church, but they said Mark Finley's sister.
Oh, where was it in New Haven?
New Haven.
It was in New Haven. We were there.
Yes.
Yeah, we were there in New Haven.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always come back here, my husband's family grew up here, so he's Village George. With my mom, she's teaching.
You go to Connecticut a lot?
No, we were just visiting a friend.
Oh, okay. That's funny. Yeah. Oh, good. Good. All right. Did that give you a little bit of an idea of the way people relate? Did anybody find that really painful or anything? Was that hard to get to know somebody you didn't talk to? Anybody? Was that difficult? If it was, that would mean you're an extreme 2 and you just want to do the detail work and you don't want to have to do that kind of work. But did it help you understand a little more about someone else's style? We talked, I should have had you at least introduce yourself to the person. So for my let's see if we're going to talk more about the quadrants, but let's see if I've given you enough. The fact that I did not say to you, introduce yourself to the person, tell them your name, that means which of the quadrants was I missing a little bit? Am I missing a little bit of? Yeah, the details would be 2, and a 1. If I was a 1, I would be a real people person that would spend enough time saying, get to know the person, tell them your name, tell them where you're from. But the fact that I did not say that betrays the fact that I am a very strong quadrant 3. Get to it, dive in, practical. So I left out the detail of a 2 because I am a 3-4. So I'm just realizing what I did. I left out the 1, introduce yourself. I left out the 2, the details. So yeah, I hope you introduce yourself. I never even told my name or asked the name of the person that I was with. We had a great time, but I don't even know your name back there. But anyway, the person that I was with, we talked a little bit too about in our spouses, how they compliment us. So there's that. So it's interesting the more you get to know, and as we go through the week tomorrow, we're going to talk a lot about these quadrants. The more you start learning about them, you're going to start thinking like it, to the point that I had a landmark birthday a couple of decades ago, I think. And my husband surprised me by bringing me to this play in Orlando. And what I didn't realize, that it was like a stand-up comedy thing, and that part of it, that he had paid extra or something. We were in this huge group, this huge auditorium, and they said, we are now going to have Sandra Doran, the life, or something like that. And I had to go down, oh yeah, Sandra Doran, the musical or something. And they had asked him in advance what I was like, and he had to give them all these details. Well, one thing he told them is she's always talking about everything with quadrants, and quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. So this group of actors up front, that was supposed to be me, that was one of the things they were saying, now what quadrant are you? What quadrant are you? So I guess I get a little carried away with it. But once you start thinking about it, you will start thinking like that, and you really can appreciate other people. Because when you find yourself being really frustrated with somebody, either a very good friend or how about one of your own children, you find yourself trying to make that person be more like you begin to realize, but wait a minute. If they were not contributing to our family the way that they're contributing, there would be a loss here. There would be a gap here. If everybody was a 3-4 like me, nobody in here would know anybody's name. You miss an important detail. So that's what we're looking at this week. We're looking at the way Christ himself, chose the disciples, all different kinds of people, not all the same. So we're going to be studying more. I think we're getting ready. This is about time to wrap up. But I do ask you to look at this again, think a little more about it. Tomorrow we'll start out by really fleshing out a little more about these quadrants. And then you're actually going to have some group activities. You'll have a group activity that you will have somebody from the different quadrants in your group. And then you'll have a group activity that you will have all of the same quadrant. In other words, we'll put a group together with quadrant 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and see how that works, and then mix it up and see how it works. Now, who has questions for me? We have 5 minutes left that I always save for questions at the end. Questions, comments, remarks, anything you'd like to share or ask.
Just wondering if there's a way that you might be willing to share your slides, because it really is.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I can put them up on Google Drive or Dropbox, or you can get a flash drive and put them on something. We've got all kinds of ways to do that. Absolutely. Other questions, comments, thoughts? Did you have something? No? Okay. All right. Okay, well, I hope that this is a good start for you, and please come every day so you can get more. If you are from a church school, or if you are either a teacher or a board member or a pastor that's connected with the school, please stay by. Come up here for a few minutes because I want to help you get these extra resources we have talked about, okay? But thank you, and keep on coming. You've been a great group. Okay, I'm going to. Because she's just